Hello again, I'm Tripp Rogers, and this is Tripp's Take. It's one of the most wonderful times of the year if you're a sports fan, March Madness. Well, there's a couple of reasons why March Madness is so important. Number one, there's lots of basketball on television, lots of sports, and it's also men's and women's actions and the NIT. I mean, the possibilities are endless. But let's focus on the real game, March Madness, which you will find on CBS, TNT, and True TV. The only time of the year you ever watch True TV is during March Madness. True story, true story. The one thing about March Madness, though, when it ends in April, it will be baseball season. And it's really a fun time because also you got the start of baseball and you've got the Masters coming, which is a golf tournament that I always love to watch. And, of course, with spring means better weather. We got the Indy 500 coming up, too. So as a sports fan, you're hitting some really, really good things. The thing about March Madness this year, I've watched a number of games. I've followed it. I have no clue who's going to win. Now, I know everybody's saying take UConn. And I understand why they're the number one seed overall. But when you look back at the number one seed overall, not a good track record lately. They don't seem to want to win. They don't seem to win. Now, I'd like to see UConn win because I like their coach. I like the school. It's an old Big East school, so I feel it has something to show. But thing about college basketball is it's going down the same rabbit hole college football is. It's all about NIL money, who can get the most, who is the most popular. And again, they're asking the questions, Caitlin Clark, is she most popular basketball player in the country? And will the women's Final Four outdraw the men's Final Four? Well, that remains to be seen. And again, remember that you will have the only advantage that the women's Final Four has is it's going to be on ABC. So therefore, you'll see there'll be more opportunity to see that women's Final Four than you will to see the men's because the men's will be on TBS. It'll be an interesting tournament. I'll throw my hat in the ring here. I think North Carolina is going to win. Don't ask me to tell you why. I'm not going to go on the UConn train, although I can see a reason for them repeating. Of course, they've got a great team. They've got a great coach. But I want to be a nonconformist this year. And this year, I think there are going to be a lot of upsets. If there aren't, well, I'll have the annual tearing of the sheet at around 6:30 on the 21st because my brackets will be blown. That's an inside joke kind of thing, but that's the way it goes with March Madness. But again, March Madness also indicates we're getting close to baseball season, and baseball officially beginning with 2 games in South Korea. And the Dodgers getting off to a good start thanks to a glove failure. Yeah, a glove failure. That was one of the keys to the Dodgers' victory in that first game. You know, I always like opening day in baseball. It shows that spring is really here, and baseball is such a it's the American pastime. It has been for a long time. Although, my problem with baseball is the analytics have just taken over the game, and it, in some ways, makes it just a really tough watch. I don't need to hear the analytics. Just want to see the game. Pitcher pitches, catcher catches, the hitter hits, runners run. That's what I want to see. That's what a baseball game is. I do want to take a second to talk about a milestone that occurred this week in New York City. Jim Kerr, recognized for being a morning host in the Big Apple for 50 years. And the irony is that I started listening to Jim when I was in high school. He started in New York when he was 21. Now, this is after he worked part-time at WLS. In fact, he was working weekends part-time at WLS while he was working full-time during the week at WPLJ in New York, which was the sister station to WABC. Well, Jim has been in New York since March 18th, 1974. And I am proud to say he is one of the nicest guys in the business. I got to work with Jim for 3 years at Mix 105. And I'll never forget the first time we really met each other. Now, he had heard about me, and he knew I was a softball player, and I was the softball guy at the station. And he met me. It was early one morning when I did an overnight shift, and he goes, "You're the softball player." I said, "Yeah, Jim, I'm a softball coach and stuff." And he goes, "Oh, okay." And it was such a thrill, and I wish I had a recording of this, when Jim would introduce me, when I would fill in the midday show. Scott Rogers is next. It was so much fun. Jim was a great guy, and he was very, very giving to everyone. There was no big head. He didn't think he was the greatest thing since sliced bread. Jim is a very genuine and honest guy. And having worked with him for a couple of years, I can say he is one of the best. And we've kept in touch ever since, but it was so much fun working with him at Mix 105 and getting to know him. And I am just happy as could be that he is being recognized for the great morning man that he is. Jim Kerr for a while filled in for Rush Limbaugh. Yeah, he would fill in. Jim's well-read, well-educated. He's such a good radio announcer. I mean, he is a guy that makes radio a better place. He's also very active in the SAG-AFTRA union. Jim's a great guy, and I want to wish him very happy. Congratulations. He's not even close to retirement. I know that for a fact. And a funny story, I guess, because it was through Jim Kerr that I met Jim Davis, who was the GM of a radio station near where I worked. And I needed a job because it looked like I was going to be in between jobs and my daughter was about to be born. And just on the basis of a meeting that I had that Jim Kerr arranged, Jim Davis's station hired me. And I've kept in touch with Jim over the years, and Jim's doing great. But Jim has got one of those resumes. He's worked everywhere and worked with big names. And he's such the consummate pro. And another person I can truly say I am thoroughly blessed to have known. So congratulations, Jim Kerr and Jim Davis. Maybe one of these days we'll get together. Jim's not that too far away in Florida, and maybe we can get together. But in the meantime, you guys take care. It's been a pleasure to work with you guys. And I'm looking forward to doing a little more, getting together with some broadcast types. I'll be heading up to Ashland for Vinylthon 2024 and a little mini reunion of all of us radio TV types from 77 through 81. A bunch of us have already said we're going to go. We're going to get on the air, Q Records. That'll be a joy. A lot of fun. It'll be the weekend of April 20th and 21st. And that's Tripp's Take for March the 21st, 2024. Love to hear your comments and questions about my show. Just email trippstake@gmail.com. If you like the music of the 60s, 70s, and 80s, give a listen to WTRSradio.com. You can find it online at live365.com. Join us again next week for another edition of Tripp's Take. Until then, I'm Tripp Rogers. Thanks for joining me. Make it a great one.